Okay, that's enough from the sign. We see we got that momentum to want to know something to share with others, to have other people feel, respect, or respond to what I know. It's like a lot of astrologers, hey, I know this, hey, you're this, hey, you're that. You got that. It's in the second house. It's rising in the rising half of the chart. So she needs to project what she feels. But what she feels is what she's thinking about what she feels. Her logic about what security is. Her need to express her ideas, her knowledge. Okay, so this need to project that. And it's not knowledge that it's just what I feel. I know I feel this. I think it should be lazy. It's her intuitive quadrant. It's rising, it's below the horizon, it's subjective. I need to subjectively live my own way and think for myself and analyze my feelings, but I need you to listen to my feelings. Okay, so if someone listens to her and respects what she's saying, she's going to feel very secure and respond tremendously. But if she responds tremendously to someone who's listening at first, if they change and they stop listening, it's going to be very upsetting for her because she wouldn't be getting the feedback that she needs so that she can talk about what's happening and express her feelings and say, this is what I know. So she needs to be secure to express her feelings, but she needs to express what her feelings mean and her thoughts and her ideas about things to feel secure. But she's expecting to get the feedback for anything she puts out. Okay. So when the feedback isn't there, it's going to really affect that setting side, the responding side, the sun. It's going to affect all the other emotional factors. So it's below, it's rising, it's intuitive. It's in the succeedent house, succeedent earth, concern. So this is a practical side. There's a need to have a certain amount of financial security. I need to be secure, I need to have some money. Here's the plan how I'm going to do it. So she's going to try and, the moon in the second house, generally, it means income fluctuates, money fluctuates. It's up, it's down, like the moon phases. Moon goes up, moon goes down. Here there's the need to try and be rational, explain what I'm doing. But there's also a need to live in a certain way that makes money, to do something, to be useful, to be doing things to make money and to express oneself. Okay, I should mention her career is one of being a translator. So she's responding to what people say and translating it and putting it out so it can be understood. Pretty neat for this chart. Okay, but she's also an astrologer and learning astrology and adding to it and adding to what she knows. You see how the moon leading this information, making her feel secure, with or without relationships. Okay, but this need to express it, and perhaps a need to make money from one's hobbies or what one needs. There's a strong sensitivity. I can pay my own way, or I know. It's like she knows what she needs to get by, to have her place, to have things, to be secure. Okay, both of these are, the Aquarius is fixed. The second house is stubborn. It's a succeeding house. So this is a fixed, distinctive quality of her that will always be there, especially as you get closer to her. Okay, so that's the main factors of the moon. It's below, rising, and projecting it. Project her feelings, but she needs to express her feelings. She analyzes her feelings. So the analyzing cuts back on the feelings. If she doesn't want to show her feelings, but she's so emotional, she'll respond emotionally. But she's not going to project. She's going to project what she feels she knows and her ideas, and then will respond whether you're sensitive to them or not. Okay, so now when we look at the aspects to the moon's opposed Jupiter, it's square Neptune, and it's sextile to Saturn. Main aspects. So the sextile to Saturn, fairly responsible, fairly good work ethic. Like that moon to Saturn's not a problem. The distinct challenges of the moon to Jupiter and the moon square Neptune. The moon to Jupiter, it's she moves, she lives in a foreign country. The Jupiter opposes her moon, where she had to learn another language and had to be expressing the other language and learning it, and then she became a translator and using that language. And yet there's still the Sagittarius ascendant is very projective, but the Aquarius moon, even though it's projecting, is still a cautious moon, and the setting Cancer is still tending to be shy. So there's a reserve quality, and sometimes the Jupiter opposing, which exaggerates the stress coming onto that moon, onto these feelings, onto this knowledge. There's a tendency to try and understand too much or to exaggerate. That could be to eat too much. Sometimes to eat too much, sitting on a computer, writing, eating. But it could be exaggerating the need to understand family or what else. So there's a strong puzzle coming from this Jupiter. There's a stress factor to the moon, which Jupiter exaggerates and expands, so does the moon indulges. So it's going to magnify the feelings. And the more the feelings are magnified and exaggerated, the more she's going to have to analyze it and figure it out. There's going to be abundant things to have to understand, to make sense out of. Where I came from, who did what was right, what was wrong, what's going on, and in any relationship. Who's doing what, who's paying the rent, who's paying their half, who's doing what. There's a puzzle there, but because the Jupiter's opposing moon, sometimes domestic misunderstandings can come about. The moon being the domestic feeling, personal side, opposed by Jupiter, what she feels or what she's trying to understand is not always, there can be a struggle with the other persons who she's responding to people. So if she, with the seesaw, aligned with people that weren't really good for her, she'd be trying to understand those people and trying to analyze the feelings to see what to say, and her energy would be misplaced, and there would be an inherent stress. So this is a somewhat dealable one. It's just an interesting factor. It's the need to understand, to analyze, to understand, to figure out what's right, what's wrong. It's in there. It's the Neptune square that's the big problem. That adds the most difficult stress. So the moon square Neptune, moon square opposed, even conjunct Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, often implies an abusive or disruptive or broken family, a displaced family. There's often guilt, or when your chart when you're born is a situation between your parents. So there was confusion. Her mom was in a dependent, confused situation when she was born. She was not feeling supported. So there might have been an inherent feeling that the husband wasn't there enough, or was there too much. But it implies the stress from Neptune, the expectation in 11th house, expectations of friends and others. It's like the expectation, who's a friend, who's a lover, who's the dream, and how to take it personally. The moon in Aquarius wants to have friends too. There might be a tendency to over-dedicate, to feel the need to have the friends and to do more for friends than they're doing for you, or to identify too much and to be analyzing and trying to express results. So it doesn't mean the other people are going to be the same or respecting her in the same way. So this moon Neptune, it implies weak habits, bad habits. So she doesn't need to have alcohol or drugs around in her life, but she could easily attract someone that drinks. Or is that? But this could be simply marrying someone from another culture and another language. Then you have the Neptune confusion to the moon. You have the challenges to understand from the Jupiter and to integrate families and things like that. I'm living here. Do I go back home? Don't I go back home? Which way do I go? All of these feelings that need to be thought about. Okay, this is her projecting side. So that there's a tendency to project the dedication to others and assume others want the projection. If someone backs away, her receptive side has a lot of difficulty with it. Very capable person. So, but her home life and her personal life is a funny mix between being very detached And the Neptune implies a tendency to have dependencies or bad habits, or to feel alone. Neptune in the 11th house, to feel alone and trying to reason who's my friend, who's not, where do I fit in, where do I don't. Okay, I wouldn't take too much from it. The Neptune, it's there. She's still going to need to express herself, need to analyze, need to know what she feels, and having a game plan of how she's going to live and what she's going to do. She needs that. That she's a little gullible with it when it comes to sharing it, projecting it to others. She can often tell people, perhaps the wrong people, the right things to the wrong people, the wrong things to the right people. That's the Neptune mixed signals. Something's not as it seems in the projection of her feelings. Well, that was from the beginning. That moon Aquarius was pulling in when everything else was being emotional. Drifting between her past and her future. Her past is rational. She's got her plan. She knows what happens. She knows what it is. This is why I'm here. This is where I'm going. But her sun, which we're going to do in a minute, is the future where she's going to, and that's very emotional. Okay. Like, by doing these things in this order, I kind of fall into certain main things. I have certain expectations usually when I do someone's chart. I know I get a little history about them. I get 5 or 10 events in their life, of turning points in their life, if they were married, where they're living, what if they got kids. I have these issues. I can see these things. You know? So the moon in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, to begin with, isn't inclined to want to have kids that early. It's not. There's a tendency to be. It's ruled by Saturn. It's not and Saturn's in the 4th. So I don't know if I want to have a kid. I don't know if I want to bring a kid into this world. I don't know. So she has the tendency to not have the kid, but may want to have one as she gets older. Some of the puzzles. What if she is with someone that wants to have a kid and she doesn't, or she decides she wants to and the other guy doesn't? These would be 8th house struggles coming up around that sun. So, okay, we're switching over to the sun now. So for the past, the memories, there's something confusing in her past, in her memories, and that's the moon opposed Jupiter and square Saturn. That could simply be leaving home and coming to another country. Why would a woman do that on her own? Or did she do it on her own? Probably. Or maybe she married and left, or maybe she left. Like, these are puzzles we'd want to know around this. So when you see something saying, oh, it means this, you say, oh, maybe it could be that. I wonder what she did. I wonder what happened. You want to get confirmation of how it works, because that's the gateway to walking deeper into making this information useful. Because for her, there's a need to know how to be self-reliant and to rely on herself and to take care of herself, not to owe other people money. Okay.